Fear. From the beginning of our existence, based on a very old Menone, 120 years to be exact, when the Reaper came to claim what belonged to him. What a storyteller this old man was. He published 5 books and became all the rage in a time of great vulnerability. His works consist of short stories and novellas, which could be defined as such, definitely too short to meet the criteria to be considered a novel. However, his writing style, filled with murder, mystery and mayhem, intertwines with elements of horror set in faraway lands. Mystical creatures mingle with unique characters who possess magical abilities. Truthfully, this is the same criteria that defines a genre known as fairy tales. His first book was a compilation of short stories, while his second was autobiographical. He was the heroine of this Marvel epic. He wrote Why shouldn't he be? If not for him, we would never have known fear, hatred, division, misogyny, suppression, oppression, narcissism, psychopaths, delusion and genocide. These are just a few areas of bondage that continue to plague humanity and guarantee its downfall. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Do you recognize any of these titles? If not, don't worry, you're better off. All because of an old man, just like an evangelical on the television screen, who came down from a mountain to inform his studio audience that God said, "Hey, I'm not making fun of anyone's beliefs, I'm just presenting a different perspective to analyze one's own viewpoint." In other words, the other side of the coin. The facts, however, remain the same. Regardless of how one perceives these writings, one must admit we are bound by a continuation of perpetual fear, hate, and anger, while dividing into individual groups wanting to belong and fit in. I am presenting my understanding of who I am
meaning
and who
we
you
are
and hopefully
confused
you will find
yet?
that we are I
Don't
am.
be. It will be quite clear by the end of this presentation. I apologize if the introduction was somewhat creepy. I just thought, why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? However, if this old cliché is inappropriate by today's culture, well, I don't know what to tell you, except get over it. I figured using the intro as a casting video would be a great opportunity to save a bit of money on production while bringing something more original to this presentation. I nailed the accent, wouldn't you agree? As children, we are programmed, often based on that old man's tales, whether it's from parochial school, Sunday school, or one of the many segregated religious denominations. Yes, the fear of God. Yes, the fear of satanic hellfire. Yes. Because we're inadequate, we are bad, and we are not worthy of, well, anything good. Guilt, shame, and fear fester within each of us, preventing any one of us from experiencing our authentic selves. That's what they refer to as skeletons in our closets. Apparently, we have more skeletal remains than Egypt has mummies. With all of the infused fears, whether taught or rooted within generational identities, the consequential outcomes are the same: division, hatred, and judgmental behavior toward anyone other than those we identify with. What we are not taught is how to love. Otherwise, we would all know what that truly entails.
Of course, with all this chaos, one tends to lose sight of what is simple and instead embraces what has become complicated. Even the message of Christ is simplistic. Yet, humans often seek refuge in Old Testament ideologies that stand in complete opposition to the New Testament and the simplicity of Jesus' message. Don't judge. Love thy neighbor. Be a good Samaritan. Welcome all, including the stranger that walks among you. Feed the hungry, clothe the needy, and give to the poor. Offer refuge to those who seek it. This is a message of unity and love, not division, hatred, and genocide, which are often associated with the Old Testament. Humanity is divided, and each individual seeks a place where they fit in, whether it's a church, a club, or any group that represents one's culture, identity, or interests. Memo: you already belong. You fit in wherever you are, regardless of what anyone else has to say about it. If you weren't meant to fit in, you wouldn't be here. Those who don't conform to a sociologically perceived order of nonsense are often the ones who make the greatest impact and bring about significant change in humanity. Unity is as simple as changing a label while focusing on the whole, letting go of the individual pieces that humans cling to. For example, the LGBTQ community consists of various identities within an inclusive space. You wouldn't need all the alphabet soup if there was one community, with everyone believing they belong together without needing individual identification cards. Another example is the multitude of denominational identities within Christianity. There is one Christ. See my point? I am, not defining, yet all-encompassing. Wouldn't you agree? I am represents the whole of all those individual pieces combined. Listen, my Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. You could be the generations that influence unity. Simply start by identifying as I am. You're not just a piece, you're a unique individual representing a whole. This concludes my reflections on I am. Think as a whole, not as a piece.